Hi, this is Oakville Daily Houses, and my name is Darlene Dara from Home Sale Diva Century 21 Dreams, and I'm your host. Today is December 2nd, Wednesday, and there's not a lot of properties on the market in the last few days. It is slowing down because of December, but it isn't really slowing down that much for sales. So we have a total of 29 new listings that are hitting the board today. 15 conditionally sold, 18 sold firm. We're about to actually launch our regional system within the next day or so. So it's going to change some of the forms that we use when we're listing properties. It's also going to really increase the exposure for listings that are really in the Oakville, Burlington area to other boards, which is really helpful because quite often people move away and sometimes they come back. So if they're dealing with local agents out there who are selling a property, they may be having them look for properties here. So it will actually show up in their hot sheets as well. So it's actually a very good thing that is happening. It's starting to consolidate, at least on the system level, various boards. So it's a total of about 8 boards. So when I do listings now, I do go into that. I also have extended exposure because my listings are on the Toronto board as well. I've always had my listings on at least 3 boards, and then if they're out of town properties on a local board, but this is actually connecting us to even more boards. So it's actually quite interesting. So today we are seeing a slowdown, though. We only have 4 that are specific to Oakville that have hit the market. We do have some price reductions as well. So I really do encourage you, if you are a buyer and you are looking, to get on automatic emails, which will now be again hooked into our new regional system, so that we can really look for properties specific to your requirements, whether it be price, size, area, or whatever. So it's a little bit more extensive, and it also shows price changes, which on these videos we don't go into. So anyways, hopefully all is well. I'm really settling in now, getting very busy. I was swamped yesterday with work. So anyways, and hoping by this weekend I actually get some decorating done. So take care. We'll see you tomorrow, and let me know, email, call, or text if you have any questions at all. Okay, so take care. Bye. Okay, so we have only 4 properties today to go over. It is starting to quiet down. Our first one is in the Westmount area, which is basically Postmaster, south of Dundas area. Big family community, lots of schools. It's $699, $875. I know it's a weird number. Quite often they do this because of superstitions with numbers depending on different cultures. So that's often why we have sort of a different number like this. Okay, so this is a fully detached house. It's a 4-bedroom, and I believe it's a 2+1 bath, but unfortunately we only have 2 pictures, so it doesn't really tell us too much. Hoping they'll actually launch more, but really we're going to move on. Okay, excuse me. Our next one excuse me, is 2371 Eastgate Crescent in River Oaks. Again, a big family community. Listed at $799,900. It is a 4+1 bedroom, and I think it's got, 3+1 bath. So let's take a look at this one. It's got sort of, let's go back for a sec. So you really have sort of this side entrance in the front, as opposed to more of a flat. So the curb appeal is not quite as nice. You can do things with that by having sort of, I think, more garden area in here, which, they have sort of limited. I would have done a little bit more, even with it being, starting to be the change of season. The other issue is, of course, that you have your staircase really right upon you when you first walk in. So it's not got the best, front entrance kind of feel. But having said that, this room is pretty good size. It does have hardwood flooring throughout other than upstairs. I would have preferred to see this a bit more open, with this little tiny entrance really doesn't do too much. And really they've used a lot of earth and brown tones. Nice kitchen though, as far as the cabinetry. Not really big enough though, the way they have set this up to put a table, other than sort of a peninsula. So that would limit for some people. I personally like a kitchen table. Especially at the sort of the $800 and above price range. The family room though is nice. I mean, they've done a nice job. I would have decluttered it a little bit for sure. That's, I believe, the master. So it's big enough to put a bed, not huge rooms though. And the bathrooms I'm finding in this one quite dated. This is really builder grade of quite a few years ago, right? You've got your arborite counters. Again, these sort of angled walls makes furniture placement a little bit more difficult. This is not a bad size room, a little bright. But again, just something, you know, simple like decluttering all of this stuff when you're doing a listing does help as well. Your eye is not really drawn to all this other stuff. Now, the beauty of buying a home that's a little bit older like this, though, is that often you do have your finished basement area. So you do have more living space. They've converted one of the rooms into a bedroom. You do have a bathroom underneath. And the backyard is actually a good size with a very large deck, which looks like it's not in bad shape either. So they're really, for this price range in this area, there are some definite pros and there's definite cons with that particular property. Okay, so our next one is 3460 Rebecca Street in Bronte. It's $879. So this one is a 4-bedroom, 3+1 bath. It is in the Lakeshore Woods area. I recently sold one of my listings in that area. It's a very popular area. Bronte as well. I am actually now living in Bronte. Is really popular. You're close to a lot of amenities. You're not very far from sort of the walking village of Bronte. It's a really lovely community, but Lakeshore Woods is when you want really a newer home in sort of an older community. So it's really that new excuse me, that new subdivision. So let's take a look. This looks like a fairly typical layout. There were several builders in the Lakeshore Woods area. They have done some outside work, so there is a little bit more curb appeal than some. I like the front door. They've upgraded that. It does have a sunken room, so I'm not personally that crazy about like layered floors and levels. I like it when it's flat, but some of these original builds did do that. So I like the first floor. It's sort of completely open, which is nice. They've got a coffered ceiling and they have actually done some work as far as some paint finishes. Good size kitchen. So this, for this price range, is actually a very large kitchen. They've done a pretty good job. This looks like a very similar layout to one of the models that I sold. So let's take a look and see. Kitchen, they've got some upgraded appliances. Yeah, this, oh no, actually it's not a 2-story. So mine actually had a 2-story. Some do, some don't. This one doesn't, but it's not a bad size room either. So there's your laundry room, fairly fancy powder room, and there's your sort of staircase. Again, this is fairly typical of this build. So they've done a nice job. I mean, they've used wallpaper sparingly, but really to have more of a dramatic. They've done not a bad job at decorating. Big size bathrooms. So it's not a bad price point. Why this would be a little bit lower than some is, of course, it's right on Rebecca. For some, that is a deterrent because of, you know, the busyness of the street. And other people were finding a lot of custom builds going more towards the third line area. Away from this particular subdivision, but again, doesn't seem to be stopping people building on Rebecca anymore, and them selling really for a pretty good price. This looks like not a bad size lot though. A lot of them are actually quite small, so this is actually not too bad. Although again, a lot of times you do need, honestly, to see these in person because of the angles of pictures. Sometimes they look bigger than what they really are. Okay, so now we're starting to see what happens. Again, Bronte, this is in the west, so this is going a little bit more towards the Dorval, so it's considered West Oakville versus Bronte, but again, it's sort of this, honestly, the same sort of southern pocket. Okay, so 423 Pineland Avenue, listed at $1,198,000. So typically, your new builds are really going for this price and really above. I mean, they're really, this is the new hot market to be south of the QE. So let's take a look. This is a 4-bedroom, 5+1 bath, fairly large, nice front door. So this is really from what this, I mean, I do the research if somebody was buying it. It looks like it's probably been built just as for an investment to flip it. So more modern kitchen, large island, good size rooms as well. They've left it open, but they do have pillars to have the extra support, and they've really used the new finishes as far as the railings. Good size room, master's very large, and again, they've done sort of what is, you know, a more modern feel, which really, see your freestanding tub. I mean, they've done everything that really the new market is asking for. So definitely when you're building, you would often, you're not going into as much ornate decorating anymore. Okay, so here's all your different bedrooms, sort of an open to above. So that's the beauty of getting more custom. You do get some interesting finishes. So they have done the lower level as well, which definitely increases, living space and would help with the value. So they haven't really done anything with the backyard because it looks like this was built to flip. So it's a very nice property. It's a lovely community. Anything south, you're in district to a public and the high school. That's another thing that I'm going to discuss in another video later, is really what's happening, because in particular the Catholic School Board, there's so much development happening south of QE that they actually redid all the boundaries because the demand for the St. Thomas Aquinas School in the south, which a few years ago didn't look like it was going to be full, is now bursting at the seams. So they actually redid the boundaries for the 3 Catholic boards. So that is actually starting to have people selling that were in other areas to try to find homes or build south in order to stay at the schools. So one of the factors quite often for people buying and selling is really about school zoning, and so that's another thing that is really helping really fuel the south of QE demand right now. So we're seeing a lot of smaller homes that can be ripped down being bought and then being built not only by developers but also by people who just want to stay in school districts. So anyways, take care. If I can help at all, definitely call, email, or text me. Okay, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.